Many thanks for a great discussion. The last part before the lunch break is a keynote by one and only Nick Spanos. He came from New York and he is a Bitcoin pioneer and a very well-known figure in crypto world. He is giving us a presentation on monetary revolution.
Come back. What are you, bankers? Hello? Well, I'm Nick Spanos. I built the first live cryptocurrency exchange in the world, 100 feet from the New York stock market, back in 2013. It was a pretty ballsy move. Felt like David against the modern-day Goliaths. So I've been in technology a long time. I built a computer in 1978 with a soldering iron because you couldn't buy one. I'm pretty old, but you can't tell. The first form of digital scarcity were domain names. So I bought 12,000 of them back then. It's a pretty good move. I was senior advisor on 5 United States presidential races. The ones I'm most proud of is Dr. Ron Paul's both races and Rand Paul in 2016, which I put the results of the Iowa caucus on the Bitcoin blockchain. There's the exchange, 100 feet from the New York stock market on the ground floor in the Satai building. There's a Netflix documentary called Banking on Bitcoin, if you'd like to check that out. It was about regulation meeting free markets. I come from a free market background as a libertarian. I also opened one of the first businesses in Miami, the blockchain center in Miami. That's Mayor Suarez. So the world is a bountiful place. Before all this, we had plenty. And through centralization, I believe, things were getting controlled by entities that maybe we didn't really had our best interests. As a matter of fact, centralization gave us the beautiful pyramids. But the guys building it had a different idea about if it was beautiful or not. So I have here about centralization and how we came up with ways to make more efficient more people working together. Sounds good. So, I think it's a little jumbled up, but so I always say that storing your work, your energy, you store in a fiat currency, Federal Reserve note, and it's not the US dollar, it's a Federal Reserve note, if you read on top, used to be called the US dollar, is an abusive relationship. Because as they print, you lose. So if time was money, every time they printed, time would be stolen from you because you spend time working, and when they print, you get less in return later into the future of your stored work. So of course I believe that Bitcoin is a financial voice for those who don't have one. I've been all over the world. I've spoke to many audiences around the world for many years, for over a decade, and I feel it's my job to explain the technology and try to even embolden people such as yourselves to be able to understand that, yes, you know, there are many things that might be happening and you're like, oh, this is bad, oh, this is that, and everyone's saying all these things. But the way I explained it is that Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency. Everything else is a project. Bitcoin's the only cryptocurrency. There's only 21 million of them. Should probably get involved. I didn't believe that the explosion of activity would fast, but I believe I helped it because that's why I opened the exchange right next to the New York stock market. I didn't even charge anyone. I didn't charge a fee. I didn't charge for food. I paid for the drinks. I grabbed all the traders from next door, taught them about Bitcoin. They thank me right now. You have no idea. And the reason why I did it is because it's a new technology. And for people to accept the new technology, it takes a lot. You have to study Bitcoin. It's not just a currency, of course, not just a cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is a reward system for holding up the blockchain. The blockchain is the first public database. And Bitcoin is a reward system for holding it up. So, birds, when you see birds flying in a certain pattern because maybe a predator showed up or some landscape and all, they don't have a leader right here, and that's called a stigmergy. So on DeFi, people are all moving throughout these DeFi platforms and making 60% return, 200% return. Yes, maybe that token comes down, but you get percentage of the trades as if you were an owner of one of those decentralized exchanges. There's a platform called Zap Protocol that we built and use. So, all the slides. Bitcoin, the regulators are telling us in the States now that Bitcoin's worthless, and it needs to be regulated. Well, they're making these laws or these rules, and they're closing down our banks over there. And I really think that there's an incredible opportunity for non-legacy financial system stakeholders, right? The United States is a legacy financial system stakeholder. I think it's an incredible opportunity for Turkey and other smaller countries that they can Istanbul could become the Zurich of the world. Let's hear a round of applause for that. Come on. Clap. No, I believe it because you guys have these live cambio places for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies out in all over Istanbul, and the regulators seem that, they're actually looking at it prima facie on its face value and not trying to make things up or believe the wrong lobbyists and stuff like that. So I think in the States, they're going to roll out the central bank digital currencies, and I think that's a big issue. That's the Federal Reserve. I've been fighting the Federal Reserve since 1991. And the Fed movement, we had 60,000 people. We chased down the politicians, asking them why they wouldn't, if they were going to vote for the bill that we put up in the House. We had it passed in the House, but we couldn't get it passed in the Senate because Bernie Sanders lied to us. And Panopticoin, that's a new project. It's the CBDCs. If anyone didn't know, Panopticon is the way they build the prisons where the prison guard can see everybody. It doesn't matter. The future is, and we just saw it in Nigeria, they were rolling out the CBDCs during this last election and throttled the ATMs where it only gave $20 a day to whoever had money in the bank. So what happened was Bitcoin was being traded at 60 to 70% more. Because all of a sudden, if you don't have Bitcoin and you only have the central bank digital currency, you're going to buy Bitcoin as your cash. They're trying to get rid of the cash. But what happened was the incumbent party candidate was getting, not having a good time. And the insurgent candidate, the candidate that was running against him, there was a lot of activity on his side because he didn't want the central bank digital currency. Well, I built a lot of this technology, and I think they're copying it, and they're going to use it not for good things. And I'm here trying to save my own soul, because I think if you have programmatic money run by politicians, you're probably going to be in big trouble, because a politician thinks it's his job to make more laws and try to make you be a better person. So I really call it dolphin coin, where here you have your money in your phone, and you want to use it, but you can't because maybe you did something wrong and they froze your money. Programmatically, it's not a human that's going to be looking at this. It's just going to be smart contracts, or what they're going to call it smart contracts, that they're going to call it blockchain too, but it's going to be not a blockchain. It's just going to be a database that no one can look at, and a smart contract that no one can audit, and it's going to control humans. So, yeah, if you did the wrong thing, you might have to talk into a re-education AI to feel better, to release your money. That could happen. It's the protocol. Maybe it's going to be difficult in the States to inherit money after they go to a CBDC because a certain party doesn't want you to be able to pass the wealth on to your generations. Well, so realistically speaking, realistic people never change the world. Never. I know that maybe if you go into banking, you went there because you were being realistic about your life. I'm not a realistic person. I don't think I changed the world, but I don't think realistic people actually change it that quickly. So I think unrealistic people have changed the world in dramatic ways, and maybe it came back down. And to become that way, it's a story with my mom. My mom, I used to get beat up in school every day because I went to a school where I was the darkest one in the school out in the end of Long Island, and he used to beat me up every day, break my nose, big black eye. And my mom would complain to the principal, and then one day I said, I beat up the bully, and then I'm in the principal's office, and my mom came in and threatened the principal. I said, oh, my mom's threatening the principal. I couldn't believe it. And then she told me, don't let anyone take your tharos. You have to have tharos to be able to do certain things. You're put in this world to have courage and fortitude. The word tharos, it's a Greek word. I'm Greek. Sorry. It's courage, fortitude, self-actualization. So whenever I see a problem, I just dive in and I don't even care. I know it's a little weird, but that's why I built the Bitcoin Center. I'm going to keep going. So let's say there's a politician who wants to stimulate the economy, and because their numbers are low, he's not going to win the race. He might want to expire all the money in your CBDC wallets. I'm talking about retail CBDCs. The banks are probably going to have their CBDCs, and I'm talking about retail CBDCs, so everyone could breathe a little. Yeah, we got a lot of CBDC stuff here coming down the pike. There's 125 countries right now testing CBDCs. The first eyes were on Nigeria. It didn't go that well. They stopped the project during the elections because there was fear that the candidate that was supporting the CBDCs was going to lose, and he was part of the incumbent party. So that's pretty good. Well, all right, on a lighter note, so I have a project called CryptoS. It's cryptos.com. I registered that domain in 2004, 5 years before Bitcoin. And in 97, I registered something called NetMortal, which is, I wanted to build AI things, and I wanted to preserve the personality of myself or my parents, my father, my mother. I wanted to preserve their algorithm in the machine and save it, maybe go back and talk to them. Now it's a lot more interesting because you can actually have AI run your will or your trust into the future, or have a vote in the board of the trust, or have a suggestion from your grandfather, your great-grandma. Well, I don't know if the great-grandfather's going to make it in because you got to train the model. Oh, that's not really me. That's AI. I was fatter then. So we're building this project. There's a lot of us. And I think it's pretty incredible. You had Jobs over here, and he had this biographer, and is trying to recognize how Jobs thought, and he wrote an incredible book and all that. But it's just the one state of Jobs, of Steve, who, by the way, I met a few times. Throughout time, you had Ponce de Leon trying to find the fountain of youth. Everyone's trying to find the fountain of youth. And I believe that the next stage of artificial intelligence, or one of the projects, there's so many thousands of projects coming out right now, is going to be to preserve your loved ones. I don't want to say on the blockchain, but this is a federated system where it's not going to be controlled by one entity. I don't believe in control. I believe in stigmergy. I believe that the people, many people, will be able to decide how everything goes through their efforts and through passing their information. They, you know, you can get frozen, but maybe you get freeze-dried too, you don't know. So this is we call it a bespoke model because there's about 30,000 questions that we've come up with over the years. There's 60,000 questions, but 30,000 of them. I trained the model with only 750 questions because I didn't have time, and I think it's going to be on here. Yeah, it's a large language model at the moment. Oh, is there a video?
I opened the first physical Bitcoin
That's not
exchange
me.
in the world, right in front of the stock exchange. We had the first ATM. We were on every major news channel, every major magazine. We were like the rock stars of the Bitcoin world. I take pride in the fact that I don't take shit from people and I don't back down from a fight. Well, there's a lot of things that are important to me, but I had this dream when I was a kid. I wanted to be a cartoonist. I wanted to draw comics. I thought that was what I wanted to do, but I never did it because I didn't have the courage. I remember when I was a kid and I had this little wagon and I was pulling my toys around, and I remember my father came over to me and he said, "You're not a garbage collector." From that moment on, my whole life changed. It's not all that different from starting a business in the restaurant industry. You just have to get the product right and work hard. For example, the square root of 3 is 1.7384, and if you multiply 1.7384 by 1.7384, you get 3.
A lot of that stuff wasn't true. I didn't have a wagon. He didn't say that. But we didn't throttle it to, you know, I threw together 750, I answered only 750 questions. But the future is going to be pretty spectacular, I believe. We don't know what's going to happen. I usually have a pretty good idea. I built Get a Room and No More Hotels in 1995, which was an early Airbnb. And I knew that was coming. And I saw so many things before it happened that they would happen, and many people did. So I believe, of course, Bitcoin in Africa is going to be the new, and we're all over Africa, many countries laying the groundwork. I had on there Paxful, which was sprouted one of my Bitcoin centers. In the Bitcoin Center in Manhattan, Ray Youssef opened up Paxful, and now because of regulatory issues in the States, he had, 60% of his, 40% of his staff was people like just going over transactions and trying to make sure that the KYC and everything was abided by, and the different agencies asked for all this stuff, and then they're trying to kill innovation, because innovation, a lot of people I've been hearing, oh, we have to make sure innovation happens. No. Innovation is permissionless. If the Wright brothers, if you saw the Wright brothers, if you walked by their garage, their bicycle shop at 2 in the morning, you'd hear them screaming. That's the guys, that invented the airplane. We believe in the United States. Maybe there's someone else. I believe that if you walk by the bicycle garage and they're working on the thing, they're, we're going to build bigger wings so we can fly higher, bigger, different pitch on the prop so we can accelerate. Everyone would think they were crazy, right? I don't think they asked for a permit or a license to build the airplane, because I would have walked here over the North Pole to get here. So, in addition, like Marconi, and Tesla, of course, but Marconi invented the radio. He was telling his friends, I'm going to talk in this box, and 5 miles away my voice is going to come out, and they put him in the mental hospital. So innovation is not permission permissioned. Innovation comes from people usually who are unrealistic, you know? I know many of you are bankers and stuff, or the bankers left maybe, but a bank is not gonna disappear. It's just gonna trade in whatever's trading. A bank is a service business. We're not talking about central banks. We're talking about the service business of a bank, right? So they're gonna try to help people who can't navigate the software. It's happening today, right? Many of you don't talk to a banker. Some of you do. The technology doesn't change. Technology doesn't change. Technology changes us. So if we allow many things to happen without stepping up, we might have an issue. And I think my father never talked to me about a wagon. He said many things that was not a wagon. He said that Βάρδα του Λεωνίδα, Βάρδα Μακεδόνη και ο Νικολάκης θα ρίξει βόλη και όταν τύχει και πετύχει όλη την γη θα την ραγίσει. He said, step to the side, armies of Leonidas, step to the side, armies of Alexander, because little Nick is going to throw his hammer. And I believe that everyone's throwing decentralization as a hammer forward, and all of us, whoever's involved, is taking a risk, they think, and throwing the hammer forward, and as we throw it, we get stronger, and it goes further, he would say, till one day we'll crack the earth in half.